The first book that I'm going to talk about is The Outcast. Do not be fooled by this cover. It is not a cheesy romance novel. It's actually a really good read. So the book's mostly surrounding a boy who, when he is 10, sees his mother drown. And from this, he starts to kind of become an invert. And he can't really make connections with other people. And it gets to the point where he starts getting into trouble and he can't deal with his feelings. And he gets into so much trouble that he's put into prison. When he's 19, he's released from prison and he comes back to his hometown, which is a place that just will not accept him. They don't want him around, and so he is literally pushed out and he becomes an outcast. So he fights for a way to become accepted, but he is now quiet and odd, and people think that he is really strange. But what's happening is he's not having a very easy time communicating, and so that gets in the way. And he's actually a really strong and smart character. The reason that I really like this book is because the characters are beautifully flawed. They're very true to life. They are not perfect in any way. And you see his transition when he meets a girl that sees through this wall that he's put up. It's in no way a cheesy romance novel, but she begins to kind of pick off at what is hiding him and leads him towards I guess finding himself and being accepted. So this book is very much about dysfunctional families. The plot's really well done. It has ideas of abuse, of self-harm, of incest. It's a very dark and emotional book, but definitely one for anyone who wants to read a novel that has a strong male character in it who's trying to find himself within his environment. So I'm going to read you just the first page so that you could hear the writing and get an understanding of how it would be read. Again, if this is something that interests you, it's good to know and to listen to the words so that you know that you'll be on board. So this is August 1957. There was nobody there to meet him. He stood in line behind 3 other men and watched them get their things and sign the papers and walk out. And they all did it just the same way, as if you couldn't choose how to do a thing like that after the time you've been waiting for it. It made the same man out of all of them. When it came time to his turn, there were only the clothes he had been in when he arrived, and his wallet and cutthroat razor. They made him sign for them and for the postal order his father had sent, and he was put to get changed in a side room. His clothes didn't fit him properly anymore. The trousers were an inch too short, and the arms of the shirt didn't cover his wrists. He went back to the desk and put his wallet in his back pocket with the postal order inside it and the razor in his other pocket, and waited while the doors were all unlocked again to let him through. He didn't look at the guards, but crossed the yard to the small door in the wall to the side of the big gate. The door was unlocked and opened, and he stepped out into the street. There was no sign of the men who'd gone before him, or of anyone at all. He kept a hold of himself and didn't feel too much about it. He had been in a state of waiting, and the waiting wasn't for his release, it was for his homecoming. 2 years is not a long time, but maybe longer from 17 to 19 than at other times in your life. It was the colors that struck him first, the colors and the very bright sunlight. His eyes could see far away down the street to where a small, pale blue car was turning a corner and disappearing. He looked up and down the street and thought he could stand there forever in the clean air and look at the distance, and the bricks in the houses that were different shades of yellow and brown, and the bits of grass between the paving and the way there was nobody there. Then he remembered the prison at his back and wanted to get away from it. Then he thought that it was all he'd known for a long time, and he didn't want to get away from it. But he stopped himself from thinking that and walked down the street, away from the prison, and towards where the blue car had gone. So, rate it, tell me how you like it, pick out those keywords, and we'll move on to the next book.